What's up, guys? NepentheZ here, and I got called out for doing jazz hands in yesterday's video. It's just my thing. I speak with my hands sometimes. Welcome back to another Road to Glory. To start things off today with my pre-order pack, we got a walkout. It was a screamer, and it was a huge one. I thought it was just going to be a trash bags one because there were walkouts. No, we got the second highest rated screamer card in Verratti. I actually only had one pre-order pack this time around as well. I'll explain in a minute. But first, we got Verratti. That is amazing. He's currently selling for around 100,000 coins. So our pre-order pack bonus was phenomenal. So here's the deal. First of all, drop a thumbs up on the video. It'd be much appreciated. Let's try and get over 4K likes like yesterday's video did. I would love that. I love you guys. You're amazing. Secondly, pre-order packs. So as you guys may be aware of, I don't know how many of you guys have been watching me since episode 1, how many have just tuned in recently or whatever. So I'll give it to you as if you've never watched the video before. I got a copy of FIFA very early, a disc copy. Not very early, like 2 days before PlayStation's early access was available. And so I put the disc copy in, and of course the disc copy came with the pre-order packs that I had from the downloaded version. So the two 15k packs per week that I got were kind of like attached to the disc copy, and then I had like a pamphlet from the disc copy that had a note on it, like a code on it that gets you your pre-order bonuses, and you put that into the PSN store. Because I was having some troubles matching up in friendlies, I like, weirdly enough, on my console, the disc copy and the downloaded copy were both two separate instances of FIFA on my game. So I deleted the disc copy, ejected the disc, and so on and so forth. However, I realized every Monday I'm not getting the pre-order bonuses because that code, essentially, that downloadable content, was attached to the disc copy. So I put the disc back in to try and get the packs, and it was like an 8 gig install. So it's going to take like 40 minutes. So I thought, in the meantime, let me put in... I'll show you the game. In the meantime, let me put in the code for the FIFA disc copy that I had, which is a Champions Edition, not the Ultimate Edition, which is only one 15k pack per week, which is the one 15k pack that you saw there. What's really interesting is it overwrote the Ultimate Edition rewards. So from now onwards, I believe I'll only be getting one 15k pack per week instead of two. The reason why I did it is because I was actually told that you will get both rewards. You'll get, like, they stack essentially. So I thought I was going to get 3 15k packs per week, and ultimately I'm going to get one 15k pack per week, which in general I don't really care about. It's only 15,000 coins per week. It's not the biggest issue to me. That, like the pre-order bonuses or whatever, that, you know, the early access bonuses, they're never like a massive staple to the series. But I just wanted to let you guys know that is why you only saw one pre-order pack there instead of two. I also opened the the Squad Battles rewards, Gold 3 rewards. I completely forgot to record it. I didn't get anything of note. Like, it was a Prime Mix Players pack, which was all my shinies were bronze and silver, no golds, and a 15k pack, which contained nothing. So there we go. So on top of that, today I am starting the Chinese League SBC, and we in fact pull a huge player out of one of the packs out of that. And so far, after doing most of the Chinese League stuff, you're going to see me do 15 of the 16 teams here today, mixed in with some gameplay on FUT Rivals, because obviously I need to get to Division 1 Rank 1. The CSL right now is up at 160,000 coins on PlayStation and 190,000 on Xbox. I generally don't think that's worth it, but I would say, somewhere around 95% of all of the players. I spent very little coins on any players and very little revenue on any players, except for the one final team that I haven't done. And the final team that I haven't done is Henan Jianye. And the reason why I haven't done it is because you require one of 3 players that are all extinct on the market. And so you physically can't do it any other way without getting one of these 3 players, and I can't get them. So we're going to have to I'm going to try and get them for tomorrow's episode, and I want to finish it for tomorrow because it's going to have, I'm actually going to have made profit from it. You will see the profit that I do make from it. But in terms of the rewards, obviously the rewards are Oscar or Renato or Augusto. I don't know which one I want to get when I get them. Obviously they're both attackers, so they both kind of irrelevant in that sense. They don't fit into my team. They will be a bench player. Oscar is a good card, a well-rounded card, but I think Renato Augusto is probably the better card. They're both 86 rated, which we can use in for SBCs. Renato Augusto, he doesn't have nowhere near as good composure as Oscar. His stamina and strength is good. He's quite well-rounded. Like, I don't think either of them are amazing in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just going to get it because it was very, very cheap for me to get. And as I said, I actually completed this one for profit and packed a huge, very important, very usable player for the series along the way, which is obviously amazing. So on top of packing Verratti, is this the pack right here? Mixed Players Pack? Because it was out of a Mixed Players Pack. No, it's not this one. So obviously we did pack Verratti, the 87 Verratti, who is, his value is going up at the moment. He's 95,000 coins right now, which is great. The other player that I packed is also a very expensive player and is coming in at 70,000 coins and a position that is just really important. So look out for that in the video, which is awesome. And let's get some comments. So the first comment is from Dennis. Says, congrats, man, from Russia. I'm looking forward to your videos. It's very nice content. Keep going to Elite 1. Thank you very much, Dennis. I really appreciate everyone that supports the videos. Thank you so much for being on the channel, for being on the videos, man. It's awesome to be able to still do this after all these years, man. Emmanuel says, wish you had face cam. Video seems so dead without you. That was a top comment on the video, that I didn't have face cam on the game from yesterday's video. The reason why I didn't is because I was live streaming it, and when I focus to play, I sit down into my, in towards my desk and in towards my screen, and the camera just goes straight over my head. You can't see me. Also, I focus better when I've got the lights off and when I'm just relaxing and listening to music. So obviously for stream, if I was sitting upright and trying to play and having the lights on in front of me and not sitting in my comfortable position, I would have ultimately probably not got to Elite that week, but or this week just come. But I'm glad that you guys really need my face on videos. It means a lot to me. Connell says, can you put a few second video on YouTube notifying us you're on stream? First of all, that's actually against YouTube's terms of service, and if I did do that, I'd have my channel suspended. Second of all, if you just follow me on Twitter, dude, I notify every time I'm on stream on Twitter. So if you follow my Twitter, you will never miss out on the streams. No problems at all. TPG Real Time says, why do you blame so much stuff on EA? The times you gave up the ball, they were all bad passes and the shots were at bad angles. Your opinion is very valid. Absolutely is very valid. It comes from repetition and thousands of games of playing this game. So one thing that I'm fully aware of, and in fact, upon watching the game back, because when I was recording it from the stream, I recorded it through my PC, and I watched the game back fully 2 or 3 times, and there were so many times where I just made so many really bad mistakes, right? And it's so much easier to see when you're not in the heat of the moment in the game. The problem is, the reason why I blame EA a lot is actually, again, it half comes down to my own fault and us as FIFA players, our own faults, and that's playing on assisted passing. When you play on assisted passing, the AI will make the pass decision that it thinks best suits the relationship between where you're aiming the pass and how much power you put on the pass. And that's not always where your mind's eye sees it. So sometimes I'm aiming the pass, or at least I feel like I'm aiming the pass to somebody who's open in the middle of the field. But if my pass is a little off center, the game may be like, oh, he's trying to pass it in this general direction. Well, this is the best candidate for that pass, so let's try and apply the pass to him. And so sometimes, even though in my mind's eye and my hand-eye coordination, I feel like I'm passing into an open area or to a good candidate to receive the pass, because I'm on assisted passing, EA makes a different decision to that and chooses that, oh, actually, he's not aiming there. And so that's why I will blame EA in that instance, because I'm like, hey, that's not where I was aiming the pass. And I can absolutely work on that by having a better understanding of how and where I'm aiming my passes, but to do that I have to turn the trainer on, and when I have the trainer on, it just completely screws with my psyche and I end up just playing a completely wild game. But if you have the trainer on, you can really see, okay, I thought I aimed it to this guy, I aimed it kind of half in between that guy, and the game prioritized that guy, and that's something that's our fault as players, where we don't necessarily understand the passing mechanics and how assisted passing works the best. But that's also on EA's head sometimes as well, because sometimes it chooses illogical pass options for you when it goes in between. Like sometimes you'll play a through ball, you'll have a guy, let's say for argument's sake, you've got a 3-on-1 counter attack, one defender, you've got the ball, and you've got a player in acres of space to the left, and then a player quite close to the defender just off left. If you put a whole bunch of power and a whole bunch of angle down into the corner flag to get that guy who's wide open in the left-hand side, the game might think that you're trying to pass it to the guy closest to you, and so it passes it to him. And I know you've had that happen to you before. And so that's on EA to kind of understand the situation a little better and set and for the match engine to be like, okay, he's obviously not trying to go for this one because the attacker is under pressure by the defender, it's close to the defender, and the better pass option is over here. So that's why sometimes I blame EA. And sometimes it's my fault and sometimes it's EA's fault. And like I said, upon watching that game back, I made that so difficult on myself, man. And it comes, there's a comment, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so Franco says, unfortunately, that should have been a comfortable win by Nepo there. And it really should have been. And I tweeted out, because I watched all of my games back off of stream, to get a better understanding of how I act and how I interact with the game under pressure situations versus not pressure situations. And I played 6 games on stream. I won 5 of them and I lost 1 on penalties. And in one of the games where I got an early goal and I was just playing quite comfortable, I was destroying the guy. And the difference for me when I play under no pressure versus when I play under self-inflicted pressure is night and day. Like, I literally go from like an Elite 1 caliber player when I'm playing with no concern and no pressure to a guy who would struggle to get Silver 3 when I'm playing under pressure. And that discrepancy is so huge. And it's on me to figure out a way to not care. And I've done that in FUT Rivals. In fact, once again in FUT Rivals, I haven't got the gameplay here. You've seen me play a few games in FUT Rivals today. I smashed a lot of teams in Division 3. That, you know, a couple of icon teams. One where you had Petit and Ronaldinho. And then today, which I actually haven't recorded the gameplay, I played 3 more Division 3 games. I won all 3 very comfortably, 2 of them being rage quits against super teams. And it takes me to the point where I'm again about 1 or 2 games away from Division 2. And the reason why I'm able to so comfortably perform in FUT Rivals is because there's nothing on the line. I know I'm going to get points whether I win or lose. I'll get more points whether I score or don't score. And there's no, oh my God, if I lose, I can't recover that loss until next weekend's weekend league. It's a case of, well, if I lose, I'll just play again and I can recover those points back. So because there's no pressure on me to perform in FUT Rivals, I actually play a considerably higher standard of FIFA than when I'm playing in FUT Champs because the pressure's there. And again, it's so self-inflicted. And that's why I was talking about the Sports Psychologist a few days ago in FIFA. As we get our walkout, by the way, when it came out, I saw the French flag. I was like, oh yes. Could have been Pogba, could have been Kante, could have been Mbappe. It was Lloris. But Lloris is huge for us because he links to Varane, he links to Laporte, who I could put in the team now, and he links to that Vertonghen untradeable that we packed. So I have got options all of a sudden. That is look at that pack as well. It is a mixed players pack with 1 shiny, and we get Hugo Lloris. So I was delighted. We've been complaining about Adan for a long time. We finally got a massive upgrade to that goalkeeper position. It can only be a positive thing for us. But yeah, so in terms of, like, you know, how I play, like, that should have been a comfortable win. And even some of the other games, and this is why I get angry with myself over the course of every weekend, is because I know I can do better than I'm already doing. Outside of where my team is at and where I feel like my team deficiencies are, how many good teams versus bad teams that I play, take all of that out of consideration. I lost 7 games this weekend league. 1 of them on penalties in a game that I was, you know, again, this game was live streamed. I was just a better player, and upon watching the game back, I was panicking so much and making so many elementary mistakes for no good reason. I lost 6 other games, 2 of them in the 120th minute, and of the 7 games in total that I lost, take out the penalty loss, I lost 5 of the other 6 games by 1 goal. And so I know I'm this close to just being a much better, more consistent player. And it always comes down to the fact that I can't handle the pressure. And I really, really want to improve that aspect of my game. And I just don't know how, because for 3 consecutive years, that has been my biggest issue. And for 3 consecutive years, I have failed in the understanding of how to overcome that issue. And it is just triggering. It is just triggering. You know, when I see some of the teams, in fact, one of the comments, when I see some of the teams that you guys play with and get good results with, and you know, I got a guy that got top 100 that I opened rewards for last week that had a really like low budget team, you know, Quincy Promes in his team, no icons at all, none of the biggest players at all, and he got top 100. And I sit there and I think, well, if he's able to do it with that team, the team excuse is irrelevant. You know, okay, there might be 1, 2, 3, even 5 games per weekend where I come up against a guy who's got a super team that is an incredible player where the team will be an impact. But of the 7 losses that I took this weekend league, there was not one single team there that was so far considerably better than mine that it could be used as the excuse. It come down to the fact that I either got outplayed or played badly because of pressure. And if I can figure out the playing badly because of pressure situation and remove those losses from my game, the only games that I will then lose will be games where I get outplayed. And I honestly think that based on my performances so far over the weekend league and in FUT Rivals and how I've just played in general, I think that will be limited to 3 to 5 losses per weekend as a maximum. And so I honestly feel like I can start hitting 25 and 5 as a bare minimum every weekend if I could just get over my mental issues within this game. And that's no easy task. The comment is from James. He says, Nep, I've got an observation. This was my first weekend league this FIFA, and as I've had to work all the previous weekends, you previously stated that your team isn't good enough for the caliber of teams you've come against. Well, my team is nowhere near as good as yours. The best players are Fekir, Lacazette and Martial. I finished gold 1, but what I noticed is that I never came up against teams no way near as good as yours. There would only be 2 or 3 teams max which could compete with yours. So what I'm saying is that do you think team rating actually has something to do with it, or was I just incredibly lucky and you're incredibly unlucky? Because I know if you have my opponents, you'd finish Elite 1 comfortably. And first of all, that's interesting. You know, does team rating have an impact in matchmaking for Weekend League? I know in the previous 2 years, it absolutely didn't. I tested it out very strenuously and it didn't. But I wonder if it did this year, or I wonder if it is a case, like you say, of getting unlucky versus lucky. And we've talked about the matchmaking aspect in that regard several times. And there is also a case to be made that somebody could truck along to gold 1 by going 2 wins to a loss, 2 wins to a loss, 2 wins to a loss, and get gold 1. And that, in that sense, your elo will never be so high to the point where you'll be playing against super players with super teams. Now, that's not anything to say about team. You don't have to be a super player to have a super team. But if you go and win 2 and then lose 1, your elo is now +1. So you could match up against a +1, a +2, another average player with an average team. You could get to 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 4 and 2. 4 and 2 is still on scope for the 20 and 10 win, which is a 66% win rate, a 2-to-1 win rate. You could then get to 6 and 3, 8 and 4. You could even go to 10 and 7. And at 10 and 7, you're on a +3 elo, which still keeps you in a really low pool of players. So at 10 and 7, you could quite comfortably get to 11 and 7 or 12 and 7, and then 13 and 7. And now all of a sudden your win rate is starting to pick up. Your elo, you know, your form is starting to pick up to a +6. But even as a +6, you could still come up against +3s, +2s, +1s, and still get that low tier matchmaking. And so, you know, as I say, you could be the kind of player that can grind and plod along to gold 1 quite comfortably without your form hitting the levels that are going to give you those beast players, beast teams. Alternatively, you could do like what I've done, where last weekend I got to 16 and 1, and this weekend we just finished, I got to 16 and 2. So my elo is incredibly high. So I'm only a few wins away from gold 1 very early on, but I'm playing against much better teams and much better players along the way, which then is basically I go on a massive win streak. And then I start hitting a point where I come up against super players and go on a massive loss streak. And so it's just different patterns of getting there. And that's where I do think that team comes into play. But also where I would say that there could be a case to be made for what you suggest there. Or it could just be a case of when you play your games. I noticed that playing my games late Sunday night gave me considerably easier teams and considerably easier players. And I think that also has to be taken into consideration. You know, the last 2 weeks before this weekend just gone, I played my games during the daytime on Sunday for my final 10 games when most people are playing their games, so it's going to give me much harder matchups. You know, it's just the way it is. So yeah, you know, it's something we'll keep an eye on. Something we'll keep an eye on over the next few weeks, I guess. And then last but not least is Franco. He says at 8:30, I have to believe that was one of those issues where the one-on-one against the keeper is a very high shot error. Matt HD surprisingly had a good vid about it. Even though the defender was close behind, you should have been certain goal. If you check the replay and the shot arrow was well placed, I believe it was there. And he's talking about the chance that I missed with David Trezeguet in that final game, that I put him clean through, and yeah, he should have scored. And I think you are right in what you say, Franco. There seems to be huge shot error when attackers are one-on-one with goalkeepers, which is why people are kind of frustrated about the whole set of the game, where it is genuinely easier to score a bicycle kick or to score from outside the box at 35-40 yards than it is to score a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. However, fortunately enough, this is something EA have addressed and are looking into, and hopefully will change in the coming weeks. They're also addressing the bicycle kick shot error as well. It seems like they've reduced that dramatically. I don't know if you guys saw pitch notes, but they run a simulation of 100 bicycle kicks with Gareth Bale before the patch and 100 after the patch. And the bicycle kick simulation before the patch, like, the shot error for a bicycle kick was tiny, and it shouldn't be tiny because it is a very hard skill to perform. And now it's a lot more erratic, so you'll see a lot less bicycle kicks being scored, which is great. And the requirements to even initiate the bicycle kick are going to be changed as well, so you'll see a lot less players attempt to complete the bicycle kick. But here we go, guys, towards the back end of the video. Of course, we have completed 15 of the 16 teams from the Chinese Super League. We got one more to go, which I'm going to hopefully finish by tomorrow, as long as the players come onto the market at one stage or another. We'll choose which one we want to get. Let me know in the comment section below which one you would like me to pick up out of Renato Augusto or Oscar. But this is going to be the end of the video, guys. Thank you again so much for being on the channel. Thank you for supporting my dream, and thank you for being awesome. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.